eBitcoinics Academy, and it's a Friday. This week's session is going to be very interesting, and we are streaming live on Zoom. Those of you that are watching, hello to everybody, and those of you that are not on this call, of course it will be actually shared on our channel or at tv.ebitcoinics.com, and you can also share it. But then, as it was communicated to everybody else earlier, today's topic is quite interesting, and today happens to be the last day of the month August, and is a complete overview of whatever thing that has been happening within the entire blockchain ecosystem. And then this is on behalf of the eBitcoinics Academy team, and we hope you end up liking this session as usual. So quickly, I would just go to news.ebitcoinics.com. Those of you that can see my screen, if you're not seeing and you're on top of the call, I'm about to share my screen, and we just go through this together so that it becomes a part of every process we are doing right now. So I'm on top of eBitcoinics website, and it being a complete overview, we would have to consider most of the interesting factors, most of the interesting things that has been happening and ever since this month got started. And I think this has been one of the loftiest months for the crypto world, because Bitcoin is trying to get back up again, and that happening is actually helping the entire crypto market to also grow in terms of volume and cap, and it's just so interesting. But there are factors, there are things that are actually making all this happen. Whether the good news is good, the news is bad, how are we going to know whether this month was actually worth it? And that is the more reason why we have to do a review almost every month on the eBitcoinics TV or the eBitcoinics Academy Friday show. So as you can see on my screen now, basically we are not going to just go by the news we see on the screen, because we've already piled up some interesting news that needs to be shared or discussed with everybody else, and we'll just be reading the headlines and we just discuss some of these. And if you also have any news you think we should know or get to discuss, after all, it's a day for a review and we can do it together. And one important news that has to do with the core activities of Bitcoin is actually Bitcoin's hash rate. This month, actually, for the first time, Bitcoin's hash rate hits new a Saturday record of 50% gain. Just this month, the hash rate is just so difficult, we all know, and it's becoming much more difficult to mine or produce Bitcoins. And just in the month of August, this same month, it has become much more difficult to produce Bitcoins, and it means it is quite growing as it is expected to be happening, or people are expecting to see. And there is another interesting news that actually happened that has to do with banks and startups and things that are happening, especially in Korea. Actually, they are working on lots and lots of massive regulatory rules or whatever for the entire ecosystem, and that is very important. Everybody else know that regulation is actually needed in this crypto world, and basically there should be responses that is actually working towards making this a better place. And if you can see on my screen, this was just is one of the mainstream agendas that all of us are actually hoping for or seeing Bitcoin to be enjoying, and that also has to do with Bitcoins being accepted almost anywhere in the world. And this is Square. We all know Square is actually a payment app or a payment processor that deals in multi-trillion payments everywhere in the world. And they've just won a patent for cryptocurrency payment network, CPN. And that is so interesting and massive news for the entire Bitcoin, not just Bitcoin world, but the entire cryptocurrency world, for you to know that actually now a whole lot of people are going to be able to not just use their Visa card, but this time around, because of the patent won, they are also going to be able to pay for more stuffs using Bitcoin. Already we know that there are lots and lots of places you can, of course, spend your bitcoins, both online and offline. In Ghana, Nigeria, anywhere in the world, you can use or spend your bitcoins. And this happening right now is also one interesting thing that needs serious attention. And along the month somewhere, we had a news that has to do with a startup company called Definity. And they've won a whooping $105 million from Anderson. Actually, what do you think is happening? Why would the Andersons decide to invest in a blockchain ecosystem or a blockchain startup? It means millionaires or investors are now trying to pay attention to what is trending on the line for blockchain, and just giving of $105 million funding to a new or a newly established blockchain startup for them to be able to use to actualize their goals, whatever it is Definity want to do. Is so interesting to the fact that you see lots and lots of people actually investing in cryptocurrency startups, and that is so amazing. And also, I think aside Square, we also had a news from the side of Yahoo. Yahoo actually also opening up to crypto payments. It's just so crazy. Yahoo Finance integrating a buy-sell option where you could just buy bitcoins, or you could buy Ethereum, or even just think of it, just buying cryptocurrencies from Yahoo Finance Limited, and this is selling off the entire the ecosystem like crazy. It's just like things are just going much more than it has ever been anticipated. And it just look at Square in the month of August, just making Bitcoin lots of trending waves, and Yahoo also doing. These are two giants in the business industry or the finance industry that understand how things work, and they know the direction of where trends are actually heading to, and that is so interesting. I want to also I just want to also check on the website, and there are some good news here I had from our team. And this is actually in the United States, where the California state legislature passed the new bill aiming to establish a blockchain working group to develop recommendations on the deployment of blockchain technology. This is not the first time. So it means every day of our lives, the US government is trying everything it can to actually win over a lot of blockchain activities. And for them to actually try, just for California state alone, to try to pass a new law, it's so massive. And Africans, we are urging African leaders to start paying attention, because we are not going to be left behind. And talking about Africa, we also had a news from Kenya, which has to do with their electoral commission to adopt blockchain for its upcoming election. This is so massive and one of the best news that could ever hit your ears. Why? Because now the blockchain system is immutable. Any sort of data that enters the blockchain, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't alter. And if a country like Kenya is implementing a blockchain voting system, it means it has 100% taken care of corruption already. You can't manipulate an election result. What the people choice for is what you get, and you can't do anything about it. That is so massive. And again, in the US, US Bank Holding Capital One has applied for a patent for developing a blockchain-powered user authentication system. This is crazily huge. And why do you see lots of nations, like big, huge nations like the US and Korea, the Japan, the German? Talking about US, I just moved to Germany right now, and then this week, Germany just announced officially again that Bitcoin is now a legal tender in Germany, which means you can ironically use Bitcoin for almost everything you can think of in Germany, and that is so huge. And when you come back to the US, banks are now just applying for a user-based authentication powered by blockchain. What do you think is happening? This is going to enormously continue growing the face of the entire ecosystem, and every day of our lives a whole lot of new people are going to be informed, or are going to get informed, or going to get to hear about blockchain. And they won't hear about blockchain without hearing Bitcoin. So if you would want to position yourself with Bitcoin, you just would want to do now. Back to China, I think China is trying to actually leverage blockchain financing in its 1 trillion yuan, and that is equal to $45 billion mass phase out of traditional buses. They are leveraging on blockchain. And you find somebody in Africa or in Ghana telling you this is a scam. Now, let's go to sports, and that has to do with, every industry over the month should be discussed. Because it's not just about Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin is going or whatever. These are some of the things that make you appreciate what you are doing, and it encourages you for you to know that indeed you're not alone and you still have a long way to go. Now, in sports, we have Tel Aviv-based multi-asset global investment platform, that is eToro. It actually recently entered into a historic partnership with 7 Premier League football clubs. I'm not into sports, but this is some good news that will actually attract your attention to sports, because the sports industry is not left behind. Blockchain is also decentralizing this industry. And I continue, it says, which make payments to their players in Bitcoins. It means this 7, I don't know which Premier League clubs, and I think that has to do with Britain and Hove Albion FC, and we have Cardiff City FC, we have Crystal Palace FC. What is FC is fan club, yeah? And then we have Leicester City, and we have Newcastle United, we have the Southampton, we have the Tottenham Hotspur, and this is so crazy. Players are going to be receiving their payments in Bitcoin, and you are here, you don't want to even capitalize on Bitcoin. Now, let me show you something on my screen. I just wish I have more to do, but this is just for those of us here today. Let me just show you something regarding Bitcoin's distribution. Now, the total number of Bitcoins that is ever going to be in circulation actually is 21 million Bitcoins, right? Right. And then if you check on Google, let's ask Google, world's population of the world, or whatever. We ask Google, let's get to know the number of people that are living today roughly in the world. World population, we have over 7.2 billion people in the world today. And we are saying the total number of Bitcoin that is ever going to be in circulation is actually 21 million Bitcoins. Now, guess what? Check on my screen here. Those of you that can see my screen, I am going to show you something on top of CoinMarketCap with Bitcoin, and you'll be able to appreciate this so much more. Now, the total number of Bitcoin that is currently circulating is actually 241,975. Now, out of 21 million, we already have this much of Bitcoin, 17 million Bitcoin circulating. And the world's population is actually 7.2 billion. What do you think is going to happen if everybody in the world decide to own some Bitcoins? Now, ask yourself, how many percentage, what is even the percentage of the world's population, what percentage out of the world's population is even aware of what the internet really is? Let's just presume 40% are actually using the internet everywhere in the world. Like averagely, we should have between 30-40% using the internet lively, and that could fetch us close to maybe 3 billion people. Because even on Facebook, if I'm not lying, I think Facebook is having a user base more than 1 billion. And it's not just Facebook. We have social media platforms that are even bigger than Facebook in China alone. The supply is constantly going low, and the demand is constantly going to be growing up. This is crazy. These are some of the figures that need to scare you, or that need to encourage you to pay attention to an ecosystem like this. It's so massive. Some of the basics, something like Singapore Stock Exchange turns to blockchain for rapid settlement, and this is some interesting news, and then you need to pay attention to that. Looking at the banking world, we have Standard Chartered Siemens partner on blockchain pilot to fully digitize bank guarantees. This is just something interesting. And if we go on and on and on, we would be finding or be meeting news like this that actually is constantly going to like make you feel like, wow, we still have a lot more to do. Now, 18% of students, twice the US average, own cryptocurrency based on a survey done by Coinbase. And this in Venezuela, it is still happening. Crypto is making waves so greatly. And in India, they are saying the Indian state government will issue birth certificates on a blockchain, and this continue going up and all like that. I wouldn't want to talk about the price dimension of Bitcoin today, because it is not the only thing about Bitcoin. It's not only about the price or whatever. It is about some of these things that makes the entire ecosystem so much interesting. And this Samsung looks to actually streamline banking with blockchain too. And Iran, they have intention to reveal their own national cryptocurrency. And in India, central bank will form new cryptocurrency blockchain research unit. Why do you think governments are doing this? And we expect some of these things to actually reflect in Ghana, and not just Ghana, as well as Nigeria and the entire African continent. And then we also had the sister of Mark Zuckerberg joining a blockchain company. Why do you think she didn't join Facebook, but rather decided to actually join a blockchain company? And even this year, Facebook actually revealed their intention to have a positive look on blockchain related stuff. So initially they said they banned crypto art, and then later they resumed. They said they are now segregating whatever sort of thing they can say, which makes no sense, but we take it like that. And then Facebook is continuing to eye blockchain. Some of these things actually always make up your day, because we are just getting started. We still have more to go. 10 years in the technology is not a joke. But if you compare where Bitcoin is right now to some of the most amazing technologies out there, like the stock market, like the Apple market, like Google, like the Microsoft and things like that, we've not done anything yet, and that is so interesting. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us today. I really appreciate everyone's time. And you see, UK, even in UK, is happening, and it's like that, and it continues like that. Not forgetting that the first Bitcoin website, which is bitcoin.org, actually celebrated its 10th anniversary in this same month. That website was actually founded by Satoshi Nakamoto. Is also one interesting thing we need to know. And this is on behalf of the eBitcoinics.com team. And we actually do more into education. You can learn anything that has to do with this ecosystem with us. You can buy, sell Bitcoins in Ghana, Nigeria with us, and you have every right to do so. And then you can also shop on our website and even pay with Bitcoin. We are not just into blockchain. We actually we do a lot of IT related stuff, website, graphics, and anything. You can check on our service page and you read more about that. Don't forget to actually subscribe to our channels, tv.eBitcoinics or youtube.com/eBitcoinics, and then follow us on Twitter and Facebook at eBitcoinics, and share this video once uploaded on our pages to your friends or whomever that needs to be informed. Until then, I would see you, all of us, we would see you again next week, same time on Friday. Share the meeting ID with your friends and let them join us, and let's make every Friday a better day. Until then, see you next week, God willing. Enjoy your days.